the armor all shining up on the dash. Got a full tank and no floorboard trash. Smells good for a girl like her. Well, I guess it should.
Woo!
Thumbing for a tune.
Got some people that showed up this time.
One that'll make her slide over.
We're just gonna wing it and see what happens. Before we do that, this is a Randall King song. Y'all go check out Randall King. He gave me permission to do this, so we're good. This is my favorite Randall King song. It's called Cool Under Pressure. It's got a self-titled album along with some other singles. Got some good shit. We're gonna shut this off and we're gonna get it rolling. Welcome, friends, family, foes, mom, to another episode of the Tales of Chaka. I think so far this has been like a comedy thing, and then an old friend of mine hit me up, Dustin Hendricks, and this is his wife, Aubrey Lynn Hendricks.
Yeah.
I'm used to the other last name.
Well, thank you for not doing that.
I almost did.
I know.
And we both have a lot of history, and we've spent time on the road together, time in studios together, time in parking lots trying to fist fight each other together.
Accomplishing that.
I mean, yeah.
Had a few traffic stops together. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God! When I had pot on me in that little town.
Yeah.
Where's that? Was it Coleman? I think was Coleman, Texas.
We were coming out of San Angelo, headed back,
and I was ripped.
Yeah.
She was. You were having to stop
Yeah,
at like every gas station so I could get a fucking hot dog or something.
Yes, I remember.
Oh man, I remember the shit show that morning too, on the phone with that one dude.
With that one dude, yeah.
Who was gonna whoop me.
Oh yeah.
For no reason.
No reason.
No reason at all.
No.
It's not. I mean.
Because you went on the road with me.
I don't believe that.
Not you. You weren't the one dude.
I don't believe that was for no reason.
Yet. You weren't the one dude yet. So, I'm going to plug this in just in case. You know, I decide to call mom or somebody. Probably won't call mom for any reason, but yeah, so I think you and I came to know each other whenever Kevin Clark was still alive.
Yeah, that's a funny deal. But
I love that you
there's
stemmed
a funny
from
story
that,
about that,
because that's
too.
probably the reason that you and I know each other too.
Yeah.
Like
All roads led back to
Billy's.
Kevin.
I don't remember you in the studio with us recording that song, but apparently you were there.
I was 100% there.
And I don't remember that at all.
You yelled at me because I couldn't quite play to a click track yet.
That's
He
crazy.
would yell at you.
You had to do a lot of editing.
I would yell about that for sure.
Oh man.
There's a funny story about with Kevin Clark. That's funny you mentioned that because this is very, very recent.
Yeah.
I turned 35 this past weekend, and we have a white Great Pyrenees dog, and he's double coated, and so all of our black clothes are covered in
we
white
keep looking for hair.
So we had to get him cut finally. We give him a summer cut every year. And we go to this lady, and this lady we used her last year with the same dog, and she was talking to us about how she didn't have to shut down on COVID. She lives out in the country.
Was it Lisa?
There you go. Well, we don't know who Lisa is. We never met her. Never knew even she existed. And so she's talking about her husband. Oh, he was a musician too. And, of course we're like, oh, well, sorry about your loss. He's deceased, and sorry about your loss. You know how many people we meet that are musicians. So we just don't assume we know everybody. And she looks at Aubrey and stares her in the face and was like, are you Aubrey? And she goes, yes. Oh, she starts crying. And we're like, what's going on? And immediately in my head, I'm going, our dog's not getting our haircut. And so
Poor Milo.
Poor Milo. And so she goes, well, you knew my husband. And they're like, who? Kevin Clark. And we just...
A ton of bricks fell
Yeah,
on
a ton of
us.
bricks fell on us. And it was just
Yeah,
so...
fucking
yeah,
goosebumps.
isn't that crazy? And that's the person cutting our dog's hair. And we've been to her before. None of us have talked about this. I was like, well, that's the first person in country music that I'd ever recorded, after I graduated school. And it's so crazy that we've met and gotten to know all these artists based off of that one man. And yeah, so it's so crazy. And she was talking about how their song, we were talking about the Garth show, and we went to the Garth show, the drive-in deal. And she said, well, our song was the dance. that was our song together.
She said they used to go see him play.
They used to go see him play in Denison before he was anybody. And
Butters probably. Probably was called the Electric Company back then.
Yeah. And so she's like, the dance that was our song. And we get the dog's haircut, we get in our truck, I crank the truck, and guess what freaking song is playing? The dance.
Really?
Yeah. And just it was unreal.
Man,
unreal.
Kevin was the person that introduced me into music, and I had this piece of crap drum kit that I gave like $60 for, and I really didn't even know what the fuck I was doing playing drums anyway. And then it just went from there. Faked my way into a Kylie Ray Harris gig for a little while. I was just very adamant, don't give me a solo. Because I couldn't do one.
And I remember something like that on your talent level. At that time, I think I do remember. But no solos for Chaka.
But I don't know what happened then. I just started messing around with sound, and now 7, 8, 9 years later, I've mixed some fucking people.
Yeah,
I do want to put a little feather in your drummer cap over there, though. Anytime I needed a drummer, and my drummer was not going to be there, he could not be there.
You know
First
why?
call I made was Jason.
It's because you knew I had nobody else hired my ass. You knew I'd be available.
You know what? You went, you did the show, we got through it, and we killed it.
Found
and we
something
had a
to
great
complain
time.
about.
Had a great road story
something
from
to complain about.
He complained the entire time we drove to San Angelo. We drove to San Angelo in my little green XB, so he knows how much he hates that car.
Yeah.
We sold it, but
you'd be happy to know we got rid of that car.
He complained.
We got rid of that thing.
Fifi's.
Yeah,
Fifi's.
We played there, and we played over at Blaine's Pub.
I remember that because we were there for two nights.
Yeah.
Blaine's and then Fifi's.
We stayed at Fifi's
whole time.
They had rooms upstairs. We stayed at Fifi's. That's why you were getting at the business, because we stayed in a room together at Fifi's.
But it was a
we
king
stayed
size
in the
bed
bed together at
with
Fifi's.
a body pillow
Nothing
between
happened
us.
at Fifi's, and I can look you right in the damn face. I can look you right in the damn face.
don't care
Nothing
either
happened.
way.
At
Doesn't mean I
Fifi's.
wouldn't maybe secretly hoping that.
There was some shit going on like eerily in that room, though.
Oh, that whole freaking floor
That
is
whole
haunted.
building is haunted, and so we kept going, what's in the fucking bathroom? I don't know. Something's in the bathroom.
No, and I smoked a little pot then. But, so
I was never worried about all that stuff with Aubrey or anybody. We had a call on 4th of July from a Marine buddy of hers that she was with in Okinawa, and the whole time he's like, "No offense, bro, but your wife,
he kept saying, with all due respect.
And I'm like, dude, I'm not. I'm just not that. I don't give a
He
shit.
kept saying, I just want you to know I never hit on her.
I won. I don't care.
well, let's fast forward to. I think the next time I saw you was in a studio in Denison, Texas, that you were working at.
I think that might have been.
And I think I was running around with Robbie White and the Tejas Gringos, and they were doing a record there.
So I'm glad your memory is sharper than mine.
So that's the next time I saw you, and then I guess we just didn't. We weren't friends at that point yet.
Yeah.
We were just colleagues, met in passing, worked together here and there, and then I stopped by Sean's house one night, and y'all were listening to this masterpiece, and I will call it that because it's to this day one of my favorite records to listen to. I show it to people. My favorite song on
Rope
it
in the Wind
is track 4. Man, what is track 4 on that song? I want you to know that I'm sick, yeah, I'm sick and so tired.
That's the first song I ever wrote.
That song, the production on it, just everything about that song.
Oh, that's crazy.
I love it. And,
thank you.
And
that's
that
nuts.
whole record grabbed me that night, dude. And I was completely enthralled with the quality of the production, and man, how y'all doubled up his vocal on lines here and there.
Yeah.
And it was just shit that I, as a young engineer at that point, I'm still a young engineer to all you old timers out there. But a very inexperienced. I mean, I wasn't even an engineer then. I was a scout.
No, you weren't. Yeah.
I think I finally earned the title, but back then, I was barely getting my fucking pecker wet.
Yeah, and I remember vividly seeing how much you liked that record.
Yeah.
And it's okay, you can plug it too. It's not a big deal. But
it's called The Awakening.
Yeah, The Awakening. And it has, but here's my favorite thing about that album cover. It looks like, we're going to be immature here for a second, but it looks like, go look it up. Chapter 11, The Awakening. This poor, I don't know what exactly it is, but the first thing I thought about as a veteran with the mouth of a sailor and the mind of a 12-year-old whenever it comes to sexual maturity, like most of us men, right?
Mm-hmm.
We say perverted shit all the time.
We think it more often.
Yeah. I say it more than most people. It looks like a fucking load just exited and is like this far from hitting that girl's face on the album cover. Am I wrong? Do you not see it?
I didn't
never
until
heard
now.
It described quite that way.
But you see it now?
I see it now.
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa.
Oh, God.
Appreciate that.
Wow.
Wow.
I've never heard.
Do you want to know
described
do you
that
know
way.
the story behind how we got that?
I want
How
to
we got
know
that
the story
stuff?
behind
And
how
I'm going to give
about.
Melissa Arnold total credit on this because that was her brainchild. She we hired this girl named Chris Spost. I think her name's Chris Spost. Chris
Yes.
Spost. She was pregnant at the time. And before we did this,
She
we
also could not
we had no
swim.
idea that she was deathly afraid of water.
Yeah.
You know, couldn't swim and all this stuff. Melissa took her to a swimming pool in Sherman or Denison, and me and Sean took a piece of plexiglass, and we put it over her head underneath the water, and Melissa took photos through the plexiglass of her underneath the water.
Poor
And,
girl.
and
Yeah.
well, it took like 15, 16 different tries because as soon as she'd go under and that plexiglass would go, she would freak out and have to come back up for air. So we were drowning this woman. Sadly, poor Chris, you know, baby and all. Like we were drowning this woman just to get this shot.
Blanton's daughter.
LB Blanton's daughter.
LB
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
I
Chris.
fucking love LB.
Yeah, he's
I go
awesome.
hug that man anytime I see him.
Oh
anywhere.
yeah, but that's how we got that. That's what that shot was. It was supposed to be kind of through the looking glass, like you were emerging from having your head in the sand. Was the idea, I guess.
From something
Head
dark.
Yeah,
from
coming out of the darkness
from
into the light.
dark.
Yeah, and you just ruined it, Chaka. So
I'm really
thank you.
sorry. LB, I'm really sorry, dude. Had no
Chris, tell
idea.
Chris you're sorry.
Chris, I'm sorry. Forgive me.
I am too. I'm sorry too. No.
So, moving on to... I think I ran around with y'all some live shows, you know, and
Oh yeah.
and y'all covered this song and released it to Texas radio, and it straight shot to the top.
It took a long time, but it was continuously climbing. I think it may have stayed where it was 1 week of the charts. Like it might have been 30 something, and the next week it was still the same 30 something. But other than that, it moved every week. It shot
I
up
think
and shot up.
weren't we on the chart with that one for like 26
26
weeks?
Yeah,
weeks or
eventually it
something.
made it to the top
Yeah.
though, and it hung out at the top.
Yeah, it did.
And it took it just as long to fall off.
It took out a
It was the entire
what's his name?
summer. Like
the whole summer. But it was crazy to see that, you know, we were nobodies. We didn't even have a band, you know.
No.
Originally, this whole deal was just me and Sean Franks just writing together just for us to have something to listen to. Mm-hmm. And it ended up surpassing all the people at the top that were, you know, the big names, you know, the big names that were on tour and stuff.
Y'all didn't even do shows.
No, we didn't have a band.
There was no band.
There was
Yeah.
no band. We had to put the band together after it hit number
I
one.
remember that. And y'all
Because-
hauled me around to a few gigs
Yeah,
to mix.
Oh yeah.
And then I went to work for Brandon Ryder right after that, which sucked because I loved that project. But on the same token, my dream was to be a pro touring sound engineer, and here I've got this dude who's fixing to pay me a pro touring rate, and I'd like
yeah, you got to do that.
at that point I'd never even seen a profile or a SC48, and I'm fixing to have one every single
you're
night.
trying to figure out how to run the thing while you're running the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I've got a great start scene on one of those
Yeah.
with all the plugins.
That's awesome.
But I had to do it. I'm like, man, I remember a Hanks gig. I was in a hotel room with Max, and I had gotten that voicemail during sound check, and I was like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I called him back. I'm like, hey, man, it's Jason. I want to come work for you. Awesome. It's like, all right, well, my wife, who was his business manager at the time, so my wife will get in touch with you, and she'll send out itineraries for next weekend, and we'll get this thing going.
That's the kind of the dream call you get, you know. I mean, even though it's just Brandon Ryder and it's not, you know, Garth Brooks or something, you know, it's still that dream call where like you didn't know it was coming, and someone goes, hey man, I want you to work with me.
And I knew that I was fixing to be mixing to a crowd every single night.
Every night, yeah.
Like singing this artist's songs, and so some weekends it was a van, some weekends it was a bus. Mm-hmm. Some weekends I drove myself in the old blue Bomber. Remember that cool, piece of shit Taurus I had?
Yep. It was full of everything you've ever had in your entire life.
Until that one weekend I dumped it out so I could
packages
fit that girl
of pizza rolls.
Yeah. And so I remember that, and then a gig. I had like a Thursday, Friday with BR, and then that Saturday I was also the house guy at Hanks and McKinney whenever I wasn't out with Brandon. Mm-hmm. So I think you know where we're going with this.
Maybe, but I'm going to let you segue.
So.
I do.
Yeah. And so y'all had hired a different engineer for the night. I think just for whatever reason there had become some animosity. Or maybe not. Well, maybe I was just misreading it. I don't know.
Well, no. We were in the middle of making the second Chapter 11 record, which we were forced to put someone's name on the front of it. And I at the time had some Audio-Technica speakers that I was running in the studio just before I'd actually built the studio out to be nice and soundproofed and shit. Remember, it had the white walls and
you're talking about the one that
was
in
Sherman up in the upstairs deal. And my mixes were coming out really bad on these Audio-Technica speakers. And sorry.
Hey.
Anyway.
I'll be sure I'm not saying you're the one who said that.
I'm not going to say anything bad about Audio-Technica. I just know when I changed speakers, my whole world changed. Put it that way. So you had sent me a text saying that your mixes are shit, and we had a riff about that for a minute.
I do remember telling you that your mixes sounded like shit.
Yeah, and they did. Listening back, it did, and I know why now because I've fixed the problem. But it was sadly me not understanding the problem. You know. It was still my fault. No matter what gear you're using, it's still your ear.
They're compensating to make that coming out of that
and
sound
in that room,
perfect, and then you put it in a vehicle or on the radio, or whatever,
and it's totally different.
It just sounds like what was this is now that.
Yeah, exactly. So there was that riff, and then we had that show at Hanks, and I don't think we had a sound. I think you were the sound guy. You were at least the monitor guy, I know, because that's what started the whole thing off for me. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but we had worked with each other a lot about live sound, and I feel like I've opened your ear to a lot of little tricks and things that that you know about sound. And so knowing that, I knew you were fucking us because our monitor mixes would change throughout the whole deal, and I knew that. No one else could ever prove it. No one else could ever say anything. But I could tell that we'd get something set, and then it would change for some reason. And so that started a riff.
Well, we've also got to look at, I don't mean to cut you off, but we also got to look at what happens when you get a gain structure on an amp, and then be it direct or 57 or 609 or whatever, right? And then that guitar player goes to play a lead and mashes down that volume pedal. It's going to change everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if that's what it was or not.
No.
But me... I'll say no. I've fucked one person in my entire career, and this lady singer who's being very rude to me, and I'm not the only out of thousands of sound engineers that worked with this lady. I'm not the only one who's had this issue with her.
Why are you looking at me?
No, not you. You don't need monitors. You sing goddamn loud anyway.
I just missed you. That's all. I just missed you.
Okay, babe.
So,
hate singers.
I'm not gonna say her name. I think any other sound engineers will know who the hell I'm talking about. She sings very nasally, and she's cool whenever you're not working with her. But as soon as you go working with her, and you get the whole band done in 5 minutes, and then she's, bring this up, oh wait, no, Oh, no, just down a little bit. Oh, nah. Can I have a little more 250 in my overall mix? Sure. Oh, now my guitar sounds a little muddy. Well, you just had me put mud in your whole mix. What do you want from me? Well, she said something to me over the PA that night.
I have a similar story.
I didn't fuck her mix. I shut off the breaker and I left my gig. And the next day, the owner of the venue says, hey, I think we're going to have to break up for a while. And we did for 6 months until he went through 5 or 6 other guys. And he calls me. He's like, man, I can't get nobody in here that's worth a shit. It's like, well, you don't pay worth a shit, but you're right down the street, so.
I did sound for Chris Knight one time in Bonita Creek. And I was doing monitors for him. And for about an hour or two, he was having me move 250 hertz up and down till he was happy. And he got happy. We started the show. And about halfway through the show, he gets over his microphone and calls me out, saying, I'm sorry, I hope it sounds good out there because it sounds like crap up here.
See?
So Chris Knight lost his monitors that night.
I've worked with Chris Knight at least 15 times, if not more. And that is one of the people I've heard horror stories from engineers about that I've never ever had an issue. Never, ever.
You're one of the lucky ones.
But with Sonny Sweeney, I've heard multiple, I've had problems. I've heard multiple, no, she was easy. I've heard, but I've never heard of somebody, like somebody's going to have to serious freaking top that.
Wow.
Till you shut off a PA on Sonny Sweeney, don't want to hear it.
Not naming names.
So there's that. No, I've never had a problem with Chris Knight, but I've heard that same story a million times. Though
I never had a problem with him personally when I was working with him. It was just that moment, and when he was on stage, when he turned into the monster everybody knows he can be. You don't write such just beautiful and perfect hateful songs and not have a little bit of that darkness in you and your personality, you know?
I think I should be a songwriter.
Yeah, there you go. You probably could be.
I could probably write some good shit.
Yeah, just you got to learn how to rhyme.
No
I got to learn how to rhyme, and I got to learn how to read and write too. There's
Could
that.
read and write,
You
yeah.
know how to do that.
Once you figure that out.
Hope. There's still hope.
But so we're at Hank's this night. And I think everybody was under the impression that I fucked y'all, but I, honest to God, on my beautiful babies, did not.
Well, I'm sorry for assuming that.
One person. So, but I know that we had all been drinking.
A lot.
Were you there this night? No.
No, but I feel like I was because I've heard about it.
You've heard about it 1,000 times?
Yeah.
I think we were all out to pretty much rock star that place that night. I think tensions were right at the pinnacle for the band and you and with Steve.
Well, I remember. See, y'all. I wasn't the sound guy that night. Y'all brought somebody different.
You did the monitors for us,
and
you ran Monitor World.
Well, after I started Monitor World, I set it and forget it because y'all said y'all were good. Then if that's the case, because there's one console.
Yeah.
And it was an analog console back then. It was a Soundcraft GB8.
I don't remember hiring the sound. I don't remember knowing a different sound guy unless it was Chris. And I don't think you did. You didn't do sound for us that night.
I was there.
He was there.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, you didn't run sound?
I was like a spectator.
Oh.
Then y'all.
I was there this night y'all are talking about, and I witnessed the multiple beatings.
Multiple.
So.
Wow.
So, but I remember somebody's daddy coming to me and going, "Hey, can you fix this?" And I was like, "No, because I'm not the one mixing sound right now." And
I can't think of who was then.
Odin.
Was it?
Oh, was it him?
Yeah, I think so.
The kilt wearing crafty man.
No, that would have been Tank.
Who's Odin?
Was it the dude with the kilt or not the kilt?
The kilt guy was running lights.
All right.
But the guy that drove the Corvette was the sound guy.
Okay. Then it was Odin.
Odin, yeah.
Well, I've never heard Odin shoot out a bad mix. So part of me wants to say or think, inherently because of that somebody's dad was looking for a fight. And I've seen it a few times. Whenever somebody's dad drinks, he looks for a fight. I've seen him punch his own kid in the face, like old man style. and folded them. So, but whenever he told, I need you to go fix this. No, it's not me tonight. I don't know what to tell you. So, I mean, I was partying, and so I remember that very, very clearly. But I also remember being pretty pissed off that I was getting accused of fucking someone over whenever I don't. You know me. If I did something, I'll own that shit. Mm-hmm. I'll put it on a flag and wave that sumbitch off the back of my Jeep. But if I didn't do something, I get a little ticked off, Mm-hmm. Or used to anyway. Nowadays, it's just, okay, whatever. Cool. But I was definitely mad about that. I do remember being mad about that at the hotel later on, and
we had just finished the show, and we were going out the back of Hank's, and Brian and I both knew. We both knew. I'm gonna say knew because if you say you didn't, then I'm gonna take your word for it. But we both knew that you'd screwed us over on the mix, on the stage. We both knew it.
You knew that.
It was corroborated. It was corroborated by Max, and the whole band knew because it was okay, and then it changed about mid-show. So we knew that, and I think you and Brian had some words, and Brian's walking away, and I remember this because I had the perfect triangle view-wise. It was me, you're on the left, Brian's on the right. He's walking away. And you decided you were going to bum rush him. And by bum rushing, I mean the bum part. And so you decided you were going to chase after and get him while his back's turned. And I feel like the linebacker, who's got the angle on the running back. And I see you going after him. And
so you tackle me.
And so I came full speed and didn't even use my arms, I don't think. I just like a cow. And just and I was full speed, you were full speed, and we met in the middle like that beautiful song. And you went flying across the whole parking lot. And then I was because I would do that for you today, and I do that for any of my friends because I knew Brian. I knew Brian was about to get smashed down.
He's about to get freaking.
He was about to he was going to have to take a different driver's license
with
photo.
One of those.
Yeah, he's going to have a different driver's license photo because it's going to be messed up. He was going to hit the asphalt and not be recognizable, and I saw that, and I beelined you, and you went flying across the parking lot, and so we just kept on walking and went to the hotel, and we didn't hear from you for a little while, and I think Steve was up there with us, and he said, "He's coming back."
Well, I mean, you didn't let me get up and give
a
fair back.
We didn't give you a chance to try to holler back. No, not at all.
Well, did you know me? Did you think I wasn't going to come back?
No, I was ready. I was ready for it. Because I know you at this point. We spent a lot of time behind a console together, and I knew what was about to happen was going to happen. And so we went up there to the hotel, and Steve's like, "I think he's coming back. He needs to go. He just needs to go. Get the fuck out of here. He needs to go." And there you are at the door on the second-story balcony,
just ready
to fight
for anybody.
Come on, you ain't man enough to come out and talk to me, and all this kind of stuff. And I just happened to be on the other side of the door because Steve was in front of me, and he opened the door, and I'm standing here, and ain't nobody because I'm pretending to be calm. And ain't nobody looking at me like I'm going to do anything. And so I'm kind of like the little sneaky guy, going to walk my way around.
So then you bum rushed me.
So I bum rushed you. Well, you said, "Come on, are you not man enough to come do this?" And I said, "I'm man enough," and you didn't even see me around the corner. And so I just appeared before your eyes, I think. And I was like, "I'm man enough now. How about that?" And so there we go in the floor on the second-story balcony. I can't believe we didn't go to jail that
I can't believe we didn't go to jail. I can't believe that somebody didn't get hit with a bottle or something.
Oh God, it was on.
Didn't you get hit with a bottle?
I don't think so. Because listen, and the only reason I say that is I know me circa 2013. If that would have happened in 2013, I would have came back with a bigger bottle.
Yeah, that's true.
You were in this crazy car, that was parked here, and Steve Franks just pulls up in his truck after he had left. This was hours after.
Yeah.
And he fights you, and then I thought you got hit with something. And then everybody's up in these 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And Variable X shows up this night.
Was Variable X there?
Wow.
She drives in. And she's there to pick somebody up, and then this whole other fight breaks out. But it's like on the 2nd story of the hotel.
Well, if I was downstairs, then I wouldn't have been.
Well, you went down, you were up, you went down, you came back up, then ended in the parking lot. And I just remember you speeding off in this crazy, like, jalopy of, like, a car. Like,
The fucking
It had
big bumper, man.
3 wheels and a dirt leg in the back.
I mean, it had, like, so much scratch in it, like...
So,
Classic Chaka. This is classic Chaka stuff.
this is a classic old Chaka stuff. Dude, Chaka's got his shit together, all the way together, and is trying to shed light on how you can, like, be a monumental fuck up and then rise above and come out with a great career. And, like, I stress on this all the time. Whenever I meet like a new girl and I'm interested in her and I want to maybe go out with her or something, whenever I'm telling her about myself, I emphasize that I have $0 fucking dollars of back child support. Not a penny. Because, sadly, that's like almost unheard of nowadays.
Yeah. Again, you and Garth. That's about it.
Yeah. No back child supports. So, that's what I want to shed light on.
By the way, did you ever get a date? Inquiring minds want to know. I saw you asking that girl out.
Wait, which girl?
The one that has the podcast.
She still won't. Come on. I don't understand why.
Hey,
I think it's got to do with political views, so we're not going to talk about political views.
Do you mean give you some street cred? You mean let her know that you're a good dude? Because you are, you're...
Yeah, Ileana, I need you to listen for a second.
Where's she at? Ileana?
You can see which camera we're on right there. You're that cam.
Ileana, he's a monumental fuck up. But...
No, used to be.
He used to be. And I knew him back when he was going through all of that hell. But he is a good guy, and he always took care of his ladies. He always took care of me. He always took care of every friend he ever had that was female. He made sure she was all right, and she got home okay. And then he'd be texting the crap out of you, making sure you were home and you were safe. So he does have one of the biggest hearts in Texas.
He's a bit of a stalker.
He is a little creepy on that shit, but you know what?
Turning around.
You know what? I think you should give him a chance. I will say that. I think you should give him at least a chance.
I got 3 fucking legs.
I think, no. You know what, Chasen, if I ever needed anything, you were always there for me.
For sure.
Always.
That's any of my
And I know that. And I know that about him. So, Ileana, he's a good dude. He is a good dude.
So, let's fast forward a little bit to the super juicy shit.
Okay.
That we all want to talk about, and everybody wants to hear about.
Everybody.
All I know is that one day it was no more, and I still don't know what the fuck happened. I've heard this, and this. I've heard one side of it. I want to hear your side of it. I'm sure everybody has heard one side of it, and I'm not choosing sides here. What I ultimately want out of this is I want every motherfucker involved with any of this shit to get over it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And why are we not making another fucking badass record?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be it here or there or both or wherever.
I'll give you what I got on it, and this is everybody has a side, and so I'll give you my side. And you take it for what it is, because that's my view on it.
Give it a subject line. We're talking about the breakup
We're talking about the downfall
of Chapter 11.
And discontinuance of Chapter 11.
There you go. Everybody wants to know.
Because it was a great project.
Chapter 11 is mine. Always has been. I came up with the name long before I met any of you guys.
Yeah.
It was the band name that I had created for myself after Danger Cart was over with, which is a band that I had before we did the Chapter 11. That's the name that I chose to not be Danger Cart anymore, which was in 2003, something like that.
Name too.
Long time. Yeah, it's way better name. Yeah, got a little bit more success than the Danger Cart did. And so that's always been mine. And the whole thing of it was me and Sean. I contacted Sean because I'd written a song, and I needed some help singing it. I'm not a singer. I wish I was. I still wish I was. and I just never could do it. You know, I was the kid who was sitting on the fireplace, kicking his leg with his Elvis ukulele, going, still in diapers. Like, I always wanted to be a singer and never could be. So I called Sean because I was working with him at that studio in Denison. And we were just doing it for ourselves, and it ended up becoming a monster, you know. And I want to credit Kyle Wade Smith, and I want to credit Mark LaFawn and Brian Dodson, because without those three guys, none of that record would be anything to what it was going to be. You know, when I pulled them in, that record became phenomenal. And that's because the talented musicians that I had hired to come and do that. So it gets a lot of acclaim, and a lot of people are buzzing about it. A radio promoter that we were using, he's blowing up about it, saying, you got to get this to radio, you got to get this to radio. And Sean, I think, and we were two big heads, you know, because I knew the backstory of how the record was made and how I had to beg him to come into the studio. I had to go pick him up to take him to the studio because he wouldn't get out of bed to come and join our little project. So I know the backstory of how hard it was to get him involved. I had to fire my band that I'd created for the Chapter 11 record just so he would come on and bring Max. So I had to fire my bass player, which I'm sorry about that, Jason. It was a shitty thing to do, and I apologize. And so, I mean, all this stuff had to happen just to get him to jump on board. And so I knew this in the backside. You know, that's the shit that you don't talk about, you know, at parties with your friends. And I had to beg him and actually get him up every morning to go on these radio interviews that pushed that Whiskey and You single all the way up to number 1. I was the one that had to get up at 5 a.m. and pick him up and just drag him with us so he could sing the damn song, because again, I'm not a singer, and that sucks. Yeah. If I was a good singer, none of that would have happened, and you know, it'd have been a totally different story. So it gets a lot of acclaim, and I think the more noise that we were making, the bigger our heads got, both of us. Well, yeah, of course. And naturally, so we end up winning a couple of awards, and with our local awards affiliates. Yeah. And the last award we won was for was it Album of the Year or was it Record of the Year?
We talking about the
with Big Star? Because that's what ended us.
I thought that one was Song
of the Year.
Song.
Okay, so Big Star 97
so it would have been Record.
Would have been Record. Yeah, so record. We won Record of the Year with Big Star 97, which is a radio station, an online radio station. And my view on it was, this was not a duo of the year or an individual. This was for that song as a whole. And I felt that record should have gone to the studio.
Where it was born and made.
And
raised before it was let out into the world.
Yes. That was my opinion of it. And Steve Franks agreed with me years later after that, saying, yeah, that should have gone there. But at the time, I think our heads were big, and we got into an argument because I was holding on to it, that award, all the way to the truck leaving. And Sean asked for it. And I was like, okay, I mean, you want to see it or what? What do you mean by can I have it? And he wanted to take it home and put it on the wall to his house. And I felt like that was the wrong thing to do, especially with the backstory of how I had to basically beg him to come and be a part of it. And so he goes, well, I'm the singer, and that's that. And I said, so, because you're the singer, this is a verbatim thing, and the whole band was around, and that's a really awkward moment. I said, are you because you're the singer, fuck me, and all I've done, all the money I paid for the promoter that got that to number 1, not him. I said, so, because you're the singer, fuck me. And he said, yes. And I said, okay, that's that. And we ended that night. We played the show at Big Star because we had a little set we were allowed to play. We played that, and I sat in the front seat next to him, and he drove me all the way to my house. And we got to my house. He said, so that's that. And I said, so that's that. And that's the last time I spoke to him.
Really?
Yep.
That's the last time y'all talked at all?
Yep. There's been a couple of things on social media, you know, back and forth or whatever, but nothing really directly to each other. I don't think we have actually spoken.
No, and there was nothing ever really crossing.
No one's ever.
Lines.
No one's ever. He hadn't reached out to me. I recently reached out to him, and just on social Facebook, social media, and it's been weighing on me for years. Because we had a really good thing going. No matter how hard it was to get each other on the same page, it was a really good thing, and we still listen to those records today.
There was also another thing after that when we were working on that Johnny Cash song over at January Sound. Remember you got pushed out?
Yeah.
What happened?
That also probably made some tidal waves kind of crash back on everything else.
I was drinking a little heavily then, and
but I remember. What about the second record, the Sean Frankson Chapter 11 record with the dirty ass kids on the front of it, and
the Breaking All the Rules.
Yeah, that was an alright record too.
That was a great record. It wasn't mixed well, and I was actually...
Was that the Audio-Technica one?
Yeah, that's the one we're talking about, the Audio-Technica speakers that I just gotten from a friend of mine. Oh yeah, it was that man. To this day, I even hooked them back up in the studio that we've just built
and ran it back through.
And listening,
same problem.
It's still it's horrible. So,
yeah.
And I don't know if maybe it's just those speakers, or maybe it's just my ear. Everybody's ears tuned differently, and mine aren't tuned for that particular brand, I guess. But I was actually in the middle of remixing all those songs.
Whenever this happened.
When this happened.
I got you.
And
that's why we never heard anything after Catch This Train.
After Catch This Train.
Which was a pretty good tune.
I wrote.
I remember.
He still plays to this day too, which is I find that to be really humbling. After all the crap and things that happened, I still see him playing.
Well, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. He's done him and his wife. Whenever me and my youngest daughter's mother split up, took me in, no questions asked. I said, "Hey, can I sleep on the couch for a couple of weeks while I figure this out?" He said, "No, you can sleep in this room." Cool. And started moving shit around for me and whatnot. I wound up being there like 7,
I think
8 months.
that is one thing that I can attest to all the people that we know and all of the people we call brother and sister in music. That all of us would do for one another. If you'd have called Dustin and I, you'd have the same hospitality. And I think, and I know that Sean and Ashlyn are the same kind of people, and we love them, and we have loved them. It's hurt us to not have them in our lives, and I think it's just this one little thing that doesn't get talked about.
Well,
and if it can get talked about, and we can all just go, "Hey, I was wrong," or
that's the thing.
Whatever. Just get it out and say, "I'm sorry."
I think it's time to put egos aside on it and just see it for what it was, and it was a great thing, and it was pure, and it was without. Get away, Bubby, right now. I already know. Sorry, my son's in the studio here, and he loves electrical.
He's a curious
things.
little thing.
No, if I think it's time to bury the hatchet, to be honest with it. I mean, we don't have to work together anymore. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to like each other, but
we ain't got to go around sucking each other's dicks.
No,
exactly.
just let it go.
We ain't got to do that. And I mean, for me to Sean, I don't know what camera it is, but I'll look at that one.
You can see up there on the.
Is it this one?
Right
playback
here.
monitor.
Well, Sean, I forgive you for everything and anything that tore us apart, and I hope you forgive me because I'm sorry. Is my boy's running that? But yeah, I'm sorry for having a big head too. So I hope that helps put an olive branch out. And
I think I had probably a little bit of a ripple in that with Sean and the ego thing. Remember the first time I met Sean? I was with you. I played a show.
God, what did I say to you?
I played a show. No, you defended me as you would. I had played a show in Gainesville or somewhere. I was on my way back coming through Sherman, and you said, "Hey, I'm over at my buddy's house, and I want him to meet you. I want you to know my good friend." You were talking with Sean.
Yeah.
And I drove in and met you there at his house, and when I pulled up, his dad and him were at the door.
Said something fucking snarky, didn't he?
Well, he walked up and you said, "This is my friend Aubrey Lynn," and he said, "Am I supposed to be fucking impressed?" And you were like, "Oh man, don't be like that to my friend. Don't be like that to my friend." But he knew my name.
Stand her when I met her.
He knew my name and who that I'm a singer and I was in the little circuit here. But I was like, first impressions are lasting. And when you asked me to come and sing on Whiskey and You, I had a hard time with it. I said, I don't know that I can come up there and do that without being a bitch. You know, I've got that in me.
Were you?
No, I absolutely was not.
She was very professional.
I said, you know what? I will come and do this for Dustin because I'd worked with him before with Scotty Thurman stuff.
We were being professional because she was coming.
They really were, and Sean was still, but it never got talked about. Our first encounter never got talked about. But I think that and who I had in my small little tiny little achievements. I think he looked at that as a challenge, and then I'm involved with that, and then we're in radio interviews together, and then the three of us, being very like-minded, are all on that project together, and we're all same team. We're all pushing to the same goal, and we got there. We were all freaking proud as hell. But I think I always caused a little wobble with that with him, too. And the whole being the singer.
I've never, ever been
and if I did, I'm sorry, Sean. I never meant to. I always wanted to
I've never been able to wrap my brain around why
I just wanted to be on the same team.
Yeah, the competition, like openers and headliners.
There's enough of that in our little business that we don't need to start forcing it.
I remember. So I was at a place a few weeks ago, here recently, and I mixed this badass new up and coming Texas country guy named Dylan Wheeler. They fucking blew my mind, and even just sound check, the professionalism, the way they had all their shit together, and the talent just blew my mind. And the opener, I guess, had drank a little bit of booze that night, and so Dylan's like giving the opener shout outs through the whole night. You
awesome.
know, thanks.
Yeah, doesn't happen often
for these guys for opening and whatnot. Brought him up on there to sing a song.
Wow.
And then, the opener kept running their mouths about, we brought all your people here, and I'm just thinking, no, you didn't, because I fucking just saw 200 people in the crowd singing Dylan Wheeler songs.
Yeah.
And they're not,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fucking kid said something about his old lady or something like that, and he was, well, I'm gonna have to kick your ass now, and he just, and I'm just thinking to myself, one thing this young new band's gonna have to learn is this isn't a fucking competition.
Mm-mm.
No. How about instead of you worrying about bringing more tickets or you worrying about bringing more tickets?
It's a giant pyramid, man, and everybody's on a different level.
You're gonna get there.
You're gonna get there.
You shut the fuck up and
you run your show. You run your show the way it's supposed to, and do it all with integrity. You're gonna get there to that top notch, and then you can say and do whatever the hell you want, and it don't matter.
And you can kick people out of your green room.
Yeah, you can kick people out of the green room, but until you got a green room to kick people out of, you play the game. You level up just like you do on Mario, man.
Yep.
No one ever finishes. No one ever finishes that game.
No, absolutely not. I was with Randall King for a good little bit, and when I first started with Randall, it was like, some nights there wouldn't be nobody there. Some nights there'd be a shitload of people there.
Yeah.
And whenever I left that camp, every night had at least a few hundred people. Well, the end of this last winter, I went and did some, call them fly dates, even though I drove, but some one-offs. And just packed. Mm-hmm. Packed. People singing Randall King songs. 200 people lined up at merch
awesome.
At the end of the
I'm
show.
glad you got involved in that, too. That's too cool.
And he's still a good buddy of mine. I love him like a brother. We talk, here and there. So I've seen it. I've seen the way that it works,
Mm-hmm.
So there's no sense in any bands worrying about anything like that, or artists or musicians or singers and producers.
You don't get there without
the
fans and the people that are following you.
Without
you
get there without the whole fucking team.
Yeah,
period.
The whole thing.
The whole team.
The whole team. I think, we're about running out of time, and but I want y'all to know that I love you guys.
Yeah,
there ain't no animosity here.
We love you.
Really,
too.
I just wanted to get to the bottom of all this shit that I've heard a million different versions of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe we get other people on here to talk about it and bury some hatchets.
I am really proud to see that everybody has continued on. Like you've gone out, you've just kept your freaking hustle going, and you got where you wanted to be, and you're engineering now. That's incredible for you, and I'm very proud of you for that. And I've seen him from where I met working with him just leaps and bounds. We built a studio. We have the full real deal now. We're not in a rent house, and he's taken that Audio Technica mix to some speakers. Michael Jackson's last record was mixed on.
I have Michael Jackson's last album. Those speakers
I'm so proud of him.
Mounted up into the wall.
No. I got them on just some pedestals. Yeah.
But I've seen him grow, and he already was miles ahead of all of us, but he's grown astronomically, and myself even. I know that I am incredibly better than the very first time you heard me sing, and I can say that because of the experiences that I've had sitting around with all of y'all.
Yeah. Because
we all helped each other, we all leveled up because of each other, and I always wanted that for everybody. I still want it for Sean, and I know he's out there still playing too. And so I'm glad to get at least that air out to let everybody know that, hey, we're not mad about nothing.
At least you get this side of it. You know, I really wanted Sean to be here today and to talk through some things because it for one, it's healthy. You know, because I know it's hurting him. It's hurting me. It's got to be. If it's hurting me, it's got to hurt him.
I've been seeing a therapist for 6 years. Me doing this is like a million times more relieving than.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes I don't need Miss Bowers to be like, well, have you tried this yet? Or did you count to 10? Just shut up and let me fucking talk.
Get it out.
God darn.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I'm glad that we're all on the same page. I'm glad that y'all came on. I really appreciate it. And
there's more to talk about. So anytime you want, we'll come out.
Bet. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to the Tales of Chaka. I'm glad that y'all have been watching. Even if this deserves a thumbs down in your book, give it a thumbs down. If you want to share it and talk a bunch of shit, do that. I don't care. But
it needed to be laid on the table.
Yeah, the Tales of Chaka. You know, I've got merch, so hit me up for some merch. On my Facebook
We're all
fan
in the
page.
T-shirt selling business, by the way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm going to start mass producing jorts. And for real.
Nice.
So until we meet again, thank you, Dustin Hendricks, Aubrey Lynn Hendricks. Yeah, see y'all later.